Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services, and today I am talking to you about press releases. What are they? When do you need them? Why do you need them for your company? They should absolutely be part of your content strategy. So, we are going to go over the how, the when, the why of all of that. So, first of all, the why is first of all because it helps expand your audience, right? You can get in front of people who might not necessarily be reading your blog or following you on social media or subscribing to your newsletter. Maybe they need your products or services, but they don't even know that you exist, that something like your company exists. I got that once when I was meeting with a client. I had sent them a cold email and she was like, I did not even know that there were people who do what you do. So it's a great way to actively reach out to people and get in front of people who might not be aware that you exist. So that's number one, is expanding your audience. And number two is it improves credibility. There are so many people still who will read print and still don't quite believe what they see online. And a healthy skepticism is always healthy, because there are a lot of things that people say online that are just bonkers, and we have to take that into account when we read stuff. So your blog should always be backed up by facts and relevant resources and well-respected resources as much as possible. But there's still just something about print that even people who read your blog, they're going to find you more credible and more of an authority in your industry by seeing you in print or seeing you in a certain online content distributor. And that's because you have to go through a third party, right? Because there's a journalist, maybe an editor, who looks at your press release, and they are the ones who say, yes, this is print worthy. Yes, this is something that we want in our newspaper or on our website, or both, since so many newspapers have gone online as well now. So there's something to be said for that. So again, improving your credibility, your authority in your industry while expanding your audience. It's a 2-for-1, and it's free. I mean, obviously, if you're paying someone like AV Writing Services to write your press release for you, it's not entirely free, but it's gonna get you that exposure. You don't have to pay to have a newspaper print it for you. They're going to cover the cost of that through their advertising. All you have to do is send them the press release, say, hey, here's something you should be interested in. Let me know if you have questions. So, when should you write a press release is the next question. There's really never not a good time to write a press release, right? When you open your business, when you launch a new product or service, when you update a new product or service, or replace an old product or service with a new product or service. When you are hosting an event or attending or speaking at an event, let people know, let them know about the event, let them know that you'll be there. Again, if you're speaking at the event, let them know about that. If one of your executives recently gave or is about to give a speech at an event, let people know about that. That's press release worthy. That's newsworthy. So let them know about the event and the speech and how awesome it's going to be, or how awesome it was if it already happened. You can absolutely write the press release after it already happened and let people know how awesome it was, because again, being a speaker improves your credibility and your authority, and then getting that press release out there to brag about it also is a great way to improve your credibility and your authority, again, while expanding your audience. So make the most of it, right? That speaking event is a huge opportunity for you, so don't let it slide. So what else we got? We've got rebranding initiatives. If you just rebranded, if you're relaunching your business, that's press release worthy. And if you recently gave to a charity or volunteered a bunch of hours, or you hired new employees, or you went through a restructuring in your company and maybe you promoted some people, maybe you have new leadership, those are all press release worthy. On the not so great side, if you are going through a crisis that you're trying to manage, maybe one of your executives made a misstep, said something on Twitter they shouldn't have said, or maybe you said something, or any number of reasons that maybe you said or did something, or someone in your company did, that really backfired and really made your company look bad, you're going to want to get a press release out there ASAP to try and manage that crisis and try to remind people why you're a good brand and why they love you and why they should forgive whatever misstep you made, because we're all human, right? We all make mistakes. So those are just some of the reasons that you should be writing a press release, some of the times when that is good to get that out into the world, but there are tons and tons of reasons and times when it's good to write a press release. So get creative with it. Anytime something is newsworthy, put it out into the world. Just remember that, like we always say with your blog should provide value. That is also true for press releases, but even more so, right? Because you're not going to get that call to action at the end, because that's not what a press release is for. A press release is news. You have to get through that journalist, that editor. You have to convince them that they want to publish this piece, and they're always going to be thinking, is this newsworthy? Do my readers care? Because if they don't think that their readers are going to care about what you're writing, it's not going to get published. So again, always, always, always provide value and give that news element to your press release. Otherwise, it's not going to get published. So now that we know when and why you should be writing your press release, now we need to know how to write that press release to make sure that it gets published. Because in addition to making sure that the content is good, first your format has to be good, right? People don't just want to see your press release. They want to know a little bit about you. Maybe the journalist has never heard of you before, or your company. They don't know why you're reaching out to them. Why should they care? Why should their readers care about whatever it is you're sending them? Because I guarantee you, other people are sending them press releases. So your press release is going to have competition. So how do you handle that competition? How do you make sure that yours stands out? First of all, you got to follow a certain format, because if a journalist sees a press release in their inbox, it doesn't have the format, it doesn't have all the information that they need, it gets deleted, right? They never even finish reading it. So it has to have that specific formula. So first of all, the headline, always the most important piece of any content, and that is, again, it's going to be kind of short, 2 to 3 lines at most, if that long. I would say keep it more like 1 to 2 lines, honestly. It's got to be short and snappy. It has to tell people what they can expect, give them a little bit of a preview for what's in the story. Obviously, you don't want to give them the whole story, but just a little bit of a taste so that they know what to expect when reading the press release. But it also has to capture their attention. It has to make them want to read it. It has to make them care. So get that emotional element in there as much as you can. Get those power words in there if you can. I would absolutely recommend using CoSchedule's Headline Analyzer, which I use for all my blog posts. And their rules apply as much to press release headlines as to blog post headlines, right? Because you need those same elements. Except maybe the how-to, the list stuff, which works really well for blog posts, doesn't work so well for press releases. So avoid the how-tos, stick to the here's what's happening, here's why you should care. And the CoSchedule Headline Analyzer will also tell you, A, if it's too long, and B, they're going to give you a little preview of what it looks like in an inbox. So if you're emailing this to a journalist, you see what the journalist sees in their inbox. So if it's too long and they don't get to the good part of the headline, you can see that in that little preview on CoSchedule's Headline Analyzer. So maybe you want to reorganize your headline so that the juicy part is right at the beginning and they cannot miss it. So again, your headline, that determines whether or not they open the email, right? Whether or not they even read the press release. So it has to be spot on. Next, you're going to want your contact information. They need to know who to reach out to. If you hire someone like us to write your press release for you, that professional writer's contact information is also going to go on there. Your contact information will go on there as well, but so will the writers, so that if the journalist has any questions about the content, maybe they interviewed someone, they want to know who to reach out to ask those questions, to get that verification, because they're inevitably going to have questions. So you've got the contact information, you've got the headline. Next up, you need the body copy. This should be no more than, I would say, 300 to 500 words, right? You don't want it to be longer than one Word document page, right? Forget about the blog post content that has to be super long, in-depth, keyword-rich, 2,000 to 3,000 words. No, that does not apply to press releases. You want to keep it short and snappy. And again, newspapers only have so much space to deal with, so you got to work with them on that. So again, 300 to 500 words, absolutely no longer than that. Just that first paragraph has to give them the who, what, how, when, why, and where, right? You need to answer all of those questions. You need to tell them what happened, who was involved, when did it happen, where did it happen, how did it happen, and why should I care? All of that has to be answered in the first paragraph, which again should be short and snappy. So you're just gonna keep it brief. Just answer those questions at the most basic level, right? Just the minimum of information. And then you need a hook at the end of that first paragraph to, again, entice them to keep reading. You want the journalist to keep reading, so they decide to publish it. And once it gets published, you want the readers to keep reading once they see it in print. So that hook at the end is what is going to motivate them to keep reading. And most of the time that's going to be in the form of a question, so we know all this happened, why did this happen, or why should you care, or what does this mean for this industry or for your family or your finances, or whatever it is that you're trying to get them to read your press release for. That needs to be the focus of the hook. And then the rest of the body should only be another 2, maybe 3 paragraphs at most, right? You're going to keep it very short. So again, just answer those questions, but again, keep it brief. This isn't a super in-depth long blog post. This is a short, snappy piece that just gets the information that you need to get out there, and you're done. And then at the very end, you need the boilerplate, which is just your information, who you are as a company, who you serve, how you make their lives better, why they should trust you, why they should buy from you. If this is an online publication, maybe you can get a website link in there. Otherwise, it's just going to be your company's name, and that's fine. You don't have to worry about getting people to your website with this one. With a press release, you're just trying to expand your brand awareness, right? You want more people to recognize your company's name, to recognize your logo, so the next time they see it, either in another press release or on your website or wherever, it's gonna ring that little bell for them to go, oh yeah, I remember this. I like this company because I remember that they wrote this awesome piece that I saw. Or maybe they won't remember why, but they'll like you because something in their brain will recognize it. And humans are just naturally prone towards things that are familiar. We like what's familiar. It's safe. It's trustworthy. So that's what you're going for with a press release, right? Next up, expect changes. Don't be super attached to your press release. It might get published as is, word for word, and that's great. But the journalist might decide to tweak it a little bit, make a few changes here and there to the headline and or the body copy. That's fine. They know their audience, right? They know who their readers are and what really speaks to them. So let them do their thing. Don't take it personally. As long as your information is still in there, as long as your brand name, your company name is still in there, that's all you need to worry about. So that is it. That is how you write an awesome press release that gets printed, gets your company in front of a whole new audience, and helps expand your brand authority. All in one go. It's super, super valuable. So like I said, if this is not already part of your content strategy, it absolutely should be. And if you do want a professional to handle it for you, we can do that for you. We are at avwritingservices.com. If you have any other questions, you can reach me directly at info@avwritingservices.com. That's me. Have a great week and happy marketing.